How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 46 of the Sports Desk. I'm your host, Splash. Jack is MIA today. Stefan is MIA today. So you got to put up with me for a while. So drop a comment, say hello. I know Tixa, I'm late. I had to get it all pushed out. It's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. So before we get started, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UStadium. You can follow our UStadium Fantasy, UStadium Basketball, UStadium Baseball, UStadium Soccer, all sorts of accounts. Those are all linked in on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you ring-a-ding-ding, that notification bell, that Le'Veon Bell that is no longer a member of the Baltimore Ravens. Thank you, Eric DaCosta. So with that out of the way, I'm going to give a rundown of how today's show is going to operate. So first off, we're going to look at hot takes, pull it up in 1 second. Second off, we are going to go through a wild, wacky, stupid week 11. Like, it was a weird week. It is another week that these good teams suck, bad teams win games. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try to break it down for all of you. And then our last segment, I don't know if it's going to go on for that long, but our last segment is going to be me going through the final 7 weeks of the NFL season. Who makes the playoffs? Who doesn't? Who gets the number 1 seed in the AFC? I don't know. Tennessee's 8-3. They play New England this week, but if Baltimore wins, they're the 1 seed if Tennessee loses. So I'll break it all down for you. And no, Tixa, Jack is not in today. He has some Thanksgiving family over. So part 3 of the Splash Solo Hour. We have the Morgan Cox, rest in peace, the Wolf Pack, Morgan Cox episode today. So with that said, let's get it rocking and rolling with some hot takes. There we go. There we are. Beautiful. All right. Hot take numero uno for today. We got. That's the wrong take. Okay. Here we are. FTV 1939 says, water is 31% wet. We've had this water take a few times now. I don't know how to answer it. I don't think it applies to the hot take-o-meter. So thanks for tuning in, Frank. And on the subject of takes, I want you guys all to pull out your phone. Like, if you're watching it on your phone, then go afterwards. But if you're watching this on desktop, pull out your phone. Pull out your phone. And I want you to download the UStadium app if you haven't already. If you haven't, I don't know why you're here. I don't know how you got here because I usually push it out on the app. But download the UStadium app. Make your profile. You get 50 points. I think it's 50 points. Might be 100 if you make a profile pick. And head over to this wonderful tab called Takes. So here you can bet your points and say Nelson, friend of the show. He says Michigan finally beats Ohio State. He is the one person that agrees. 4 people, including me, disagree. It's pot of 2,500. So if you agree with Nelson, like my dad, and you're a big Michigan fan, you agree with Nelson, you can go win some points. If you agree with me and Nick and I don't know what his name is, Cleky. If you agree with us, then you can get a smaller portion of the pot if Ohio State wins. So make sure you download the UStadium app, check it out, go crazy on it, make your takes. It's a lot of fun. All right, so back to regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, Tixa, you're right. 1 whole hour of Splash, and he picked Michigan in his pick'ems. I don't trust Jim Harbaugh, and I think Ohio State's just better. I think Ohio State has better quarterback play, and that tends to matter in these big games. That you need the star quarterback. This is why, while I think Georgia is deserving overwhelming favorites to win the college football playoff, and I think I bet on them back when it was plus 120, but they're overwhelming favorites. But if you're asking to stack them up against the best teams of all time, I don't know if they're beating the Trevor Lawrence Clemson teams. I don't know if they're beating the Joe Burrow LSU teams. I don't know if they're beating the Jameis with FSU. I don't know if they're beating those teams because Stetson Bennett isn't like God tier quarterback. You recognize Winston, Lawrence, Cam when he was at Auburn, guys like that, special players. Bryce Young, we'll see in a couple weeks in the SEC title game, but that's my one hesitation with Georgia. They are awesome. They have one of the best defenses I've ever seen. Mad respect there. Mad respect to Kirby Smart for building that program. Not even building that program, taking that program from Mark Richt and just saying we should be contending for national titles. And guess what? They have. It's super impressive what they've done in Athens, and all the respect in the world. Just got to get the quarterback figured out if you want that next step, that Burrow, that Lawrence, that Cam guy. So, anyways, let's move on. Chef Squill, make sure you check out his show, the Play Action Podcast, tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern. He says, Jalen Hurts is the man for Philly. I agree with you. I think this is a bell pepper take. Not that Hurts is like a top 10 quarterback, but he has this. I'm going to compare him to Lamar Jackson. There's been a stat graphic going around that through 15 starts, Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts have nearly identical numbers. I will say that's a tiny bit misleading because the next 7 games after that stretch, Lamar Jackson went absolutely Super Saiyan and was throwing 5 touchdowns every week, it felt like, in 2019. So, yes, I think it's absolutely fair. It's absolutely fair. Hurts and Lamar, natural comparison there with the running style, the offense style. But I think with Philly, I'll get into this more with my predictions, but Philly has found a way to win, and it is quite impressive. It is when a team figures out its identity, it is special. I'm not saying the Eagles are a top 10 team. I'm not saying Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. They could easily lose to New York this weekend. But they have figured out a way to win. They have figured out what they do well, and I respect it. Mad respect to Nick Sirianni. I think he's having the best season of any rookie head coach, especially related to the expectations. Because you look at like Brandon Staley, they were supposed to be juggernauts in LA, but Philly, they were supposed to suck. They were supposed to go 3-14, 4-13. It was supposed to be bad, and they are 5-6. They have a very workable schedule. Their next 5 games they could win. They have the Jets, Giants twice, and the R words twice. That is a incredibly workable schedule. And then they play Dallas week 18. Could be a rest game for Dallas. There's a universe that the Eagles finish 11-6. I'm not saying it happens, but stay tuned for my predictions if you want it. And Teeksa mentions their defense has been pretty solid of late. Darius Slay has returned a big play Slay for him. He's a guy that's, in all-pro consideration. They are without Brandon Graham. He was injured early in the season. But, yeah, they play really well as a team. They have kind of like an old-fashioned, like they make you beat you. They make other teams beat them, which sounds counterintuitive, but you have to cross all your T's and dot all your I's and be on your P's and Q's and all the cliches. You have to do that to beat the Eagles. You have to play a well-rounded game of football to beat them because they're not going to make many mistakes. They're going to, do enough on offense. They're going to pound the ball. They're going to run with Hurts, and they're going to run with the fantasy stable of running backs that you don't want to touch. They're throw to Devonta Smith. So it's a fun team. I respect a lot of what they've done. I think they've run for 250 yards in 2 of their last 3 games, which is just mind-boggling in the modern era. I don't think Baltimore is even doing that with Lamar Jackson, but I agree, Will. All right. Joel MVP Embiid says, Pat McAfee's show is overrated. I don't watch it often, but I do like some of the clips from it. I think the Aaron Rodgers segment is pretty cool every week. I don't know. I would have to disagree. I'm gonna go Scotch Bonnet. I can understand not liking it. It's kind of like this, or kind of like any talk show. It's like if you're vibing with it, if you agree with what he says, then it's great. If you don't agree, then you want to turn it off. Like there's a reason I follow Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd, right? Because I think they make some logical points. There's a reason I don't follow some other members of the sports media because they think they're off their rocker. So Blake Judd says Chiefs lose in the opening round of the playoffs in convincing fashion. I think the Chiefs are matchup dependent. It is as strange as it sounds. I don't want to say the Chiefs are figured out because it's not entirely true, but I think I've echoed this sentiment before that Patrick Mahomes thinks he's the second coming of Jesus, and he's not. And this is the same thing with Herbert. Lamar gets into this. Josh Allen's been doing this every week. Aaron Rodgers does this from time to time. Every awesome quarterback does this. Mahomes thinks his poop doesn't stink sometimes. And that's the issue with Kansas City, that Andy Reid can call these great plays, right? Tyreek Hill can run great routes. Travis Kelce can run great routes. But if Patrick Mahomes tries to do too much, the Chiefs dig a hole for themselves. And this is when Mahomes throws it into triple coverage, right? And I want to point out something. This year with Mahomes, the turnovers have been ridiculous, but the rate of bad throw actually hasn't. His turnover worthy play percentage is very similar to what he's done his last 3 years as a starter. But this year, there's no offset. There's minimal big play ability. Ben Roethlisberger has a similar big time throw rate. Like, come on now. And Herbert's kind of the same way with a lower big time throw rate than you'd expect. But Mahomes certainly can flip the switch, certainly can throw for 5 touchdowns. He's done that twice this season. But I don't think the Chiefs are going to get whacked. They might lose, but I don't think they're going to go get whacked. It is a matchup dependent thing, but the defense has said, hello, we are here. And Chris Jones has been a huge part of that. He has been playing more on the interior, rushing A and B gaps, and it's working. He, as an edge player, was terrible. Like, go back, watch the Baltimore film, watch the Chargers film. He was an abysmal edge player, but throw him on the interior, no one's stopping him. And if you do stop him, he's going to bat the pass down. So I'm going to have to disagree with you, Blake. I'm going to go Cayenne Scotch bonnet, because convincing fashion is a little goofy, because if you watching the game and looking at the box score, you can get a totally different result. Say like Tampa Washington last week was a 10-point game. It was a 2-score game. Baltimore Miami was a 2-score game. Those aren't the same game, if that makes sense. Nick L says Josh Allen is a fraud and had one good fluke season. So I've been, I guess, a critic of Josh Allen. I was tempering expectations heading into the year because he had such an explosive season. He's going to come back down to earth. And I think that's happened. And as much as I want to take a victory lap, to me, it's 2018, he was bad. 2019, he wasn't very good. 2020, he was awesome. And then this year, he's just not delivering on your expectations. And that's okay. If you take a step back and ask, is Josh Allen a good quarterback? The answer is yes. Is he this God's gift to earth? Maybe not. But again, no quarterback this year has been awesome for, every game. Even Kyler, he's missed the last 3 weeks. And the last time he played, he had the game-ending interception. Not his fault. Doesn't matter narrative-wise. So I think with Allen, he had a stinker and a half against the Colts. He had a PFF passing grade in the 30s. Look, I know people don't like PFF. It's really hard to be that bad. He is the kind of guy that can have his worst game of the season until the other day, and the Bills win by 35. So am I souring on Josh Allen? Yes and no, but I also had lower expectations on Josh Allen than most people did. So I want to throw that out there, that I think I've been right on Josh Allen. He's still an awesome quarterback. He is still a guy that will be, could be the best quarterback in a week, any given week. The man had 8 big-time throws against the Jets. I don't care that it's the Jets. 8 big-time throws hasn't happened. Mahomes did it once last year against Tampa, and it hadn't happened since 2014. Ben and Luck did it in the same game, which if you have some free time, I want you go back 2014 Steelers Colts, 80 some odd points. Antonio Brown had a touchdown, or had a punt return touchdown. Both quarterbacks had 8 big time throws. It was an awesome game. Go back and watch it. That was a really good Steelers team and really solid Colts team as well. So Josh Allen is a fraud and had one good fluke season. I would not say he's a fraud. I'm going to say this is habanero. How's it going, Austin? We can talk about Cam in a little bit. I was at the Ohio Toledo game last week. Yeah, I'm vibing. Bobcats and Rockets. You got some action there. That's fun. I haven't been to a football game since I went to the RG3 versus Mason Rudolph. I think he was starting. It was either him or Hodges, week 17 in 2019. But I would like to go to one for Christmas. All right, we got Nelson. Colt McCoy had the best performance last weekend. I can see why you say that. I think efficiency, he was very efficient, completed a lot of passes, was kind of methodical. I would not say him. I would roll I would roll Aaron Rodgers. I think Rodgers had the swagger, the big play. He did practically nothing wrong in that game besides leave for half early. So Jordan Love had to come in and kneel on the last snap. But I think Rodgers had the best week. I'm not saying McCoy was bad, but McCoy was, rock solid. It's what you want out of a backup quarterback. If you can get that performance out of a backup, great. If not, it happens. So big props to the Cardinals for winning 2 out of 3 with Colt McCoy. Hopefully it's only 2 out of 3 and not 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4. Hopefully Kyler's back in week 13. They have a bye this week, but they head to Soldier Field in week 13. All right, Jay-Z 2016 Cubs says Patrick Mahomes is overrated. This is another one that people need to adjust their expectations. And we have found, I guess, not a flaw, but an ego trip with Patrick Mahomes, I think. And I mentioned it earlier that he thinks he's the second coming of Jesus and he's not. And that's okay. You can be really successful when you're not. And I want, if I met Patrick Mahomes and had to give him one piece of advice, I would say, watch the AFC title game against the Bills and you're going to snap right out of your funk and you're going to be back to the number 1 or number 2 best quarterback in the NFL. Because what Mahomes does is overthinks things. And there's some media that he doesn't know how to read defenses. I don't necessarily buy that. I just think he is trying too hard to force things. So if he takes a breath, goes back, watches the film from January and says, we won, we killed a really good Buffalo team. We whacked them and Mahomes was spectacular. Go back, watch that game, and you're going to figure out, okay, honestly, just take a breath. Take a breath. Your offensive line is going to hold up. You have good receivers. You can trust them. You can trust them. Tiksa would not go that far. That's a Pepper X take. But yeah, if Mahomes just calms down, I think there's a path for the Chiefs to finish 13-4. As scary as it sounds, you can head to the AFC North group chat. I've said, sorry, Bengals fans, sorry, Steelers fans, you got screwed. The Ravens and Browns caught the Chiefs in like the state of flux that Mahomes wasn't playing well and the defense sucked. But nope, the Bengals are going to get full blast defense and Mahomes maybe figures it out. And the Steelers, same ordeal. So Patrick Mahomes is overrated. Just adjust your expectations. No quarterback's been that great this season. Chase Dib says Brady isn't a top 5 quarterback this season in terms of value added to his team. So this is a fascinating one because Brady's been pretty good. The first 5 weeks he was very good. The last night against the Giants he was pretty good. I believe he's like second in PFF grade on beyond 20 yards. So that's impressive. He and Kyler. So there's that. So I can see where you're coming from there, but at the same time, I do want to caution you and say what Brady does statistically is one thing, but what he brings in terms of consistency and what he brings in ability to raise a floor of a team, I think is second to none. Just, I get it. He's not, the arm talent is not what Mahomes or Allen or Herbert or whoever has. I get it. His 11-yard run is the highlight of his athletic highlight of his life. But think about all the times that he sat back and picked apart the soft zone defense the Giants were running yesterday. Think about it. Just think about it and say, little here, little there. 8 yards here, 8 yards there. Check to a run play. 8 yards there, 8 yards there. Accurate. So I think there is tons of value in that. So I can understand he's not as talented as a Mahomes. He's not as talented as an Allen or Herbert, but he brings such a floor raising from just a consistency standpoint. Does he make bad throws? Yes. Does he make bad decisions? Yes. But they are less common than almost every other quarterback in the NFL. So with that said, if you guys have any hot takes throughout the show, be sure to drop them in the comments. But it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to recap one of the weirdest weeks of football in, I would say, recent memory, but this year's just been goofy, just frankly goofy. So I'm going to pull up the week 11 schedule. It's crazy that we are already in week 12 now. So we have that. I am pulling up. Boom. That's week 12, but that's beside the point. Okay. We have the week 11 schedule. I will go through every game the rest of the season, one by one. Will this work? Yes. Okay. I went back too far. Okay. Cool. Let me load. Por favor. There we go. All right. Let's start in the AFC. We have one of the weirder games. This one I did not see coming. I thought the Colts were good. I thought they would be competitive. I have been a outspoken critic of how the Bills play defense, that they don't really care about stopping the run. So if you care about running the football, see Tennessee, you can have success. I know Baltimore didn't win the game in the playoffs. Oh, they scored 3 points. Not the running game's fault. The Colts said, okay, we're going to dominate you at the point of attack for 60 minutes. And that's what they did. They walk into Orchard Park, win by 26. Huge win for the Colts. If I have any critiques of the Colts, Carson Wentz is I need more Wentz. Wentz has had a rough 2020 and had so many goofy spots this year. The second Titans game, Niners game, he was terrible in both of those. Had like 7 turnover-worthy plays overall. I don't trust Wentz enough to say the Colts are like going to the Super Bowl or anything. The Colts are very good, but I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on the Colts. So then we have the Buffalo Bills. You guys can see everything? Okay. We have the Buffalo Bills. I am kind of souring. If you want a full description of why I'm souring, go ahead and look at the Stephen A. Smith rant from today. It was explosive, and I agreed with just about everything he said. Josh Allen should be better for a 6-year, $200-something million quarterback, $250-something million quarterback. I agree with that. I also personally have lower expectations for Josh Allen because I know you don't replicate MVP seasons. Brady doesn't do it. Mahomes doesn't do it. Peyton didn't do it. Rodgers doesn't do it. It just doesn't happen. You take a step back after you have that awesome season. You don't have like awesome season, then elevate, right? So I was like, okay, Allen's going to take a statistical step back. They're going to have some more rushing touchdowns. They're going to lean on the defense a little bit more, variety of things. Allen's going to be okay. Allen's a roller coaster. We know that. He's inconsistent. We get it. The defense, I think they are a team that is exploitable. Now, there's not many teams in the league that can exploit it, but if you care about running the football, I think you can beat Buffalo. Is it guaranteed to beat Buffalo? No, but I think you can beat Buffalo. So I'm a little worried. Dolphins, Jets. Dolphins won by a touchdown over the Flacco Jets. I don't think there's much to take away from here. Miami's performing pretty well. Tua has a higher PFF passing grade than Patrick Mahomes. I think he deserves it. Miami's won 3 in a row, so they're up to 4-7. They hold a tiebreaker over the Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots, and they play the Patriots again. I'm not saying they're going to go on this magical run, but I guess the door is open, right? They have some winnable games left. Texans at Titans. Texans win by 9 at Tennessee. Congratulations, Houston. T-Mobile. Tyrod Taylor was vibing. He had a solid day at the office. He had a solid day at the office, so good stuff there. It wasn't great as a passer, but did have 2 rushing touchdowns. And I'm that girl. Okay, what about the Titans? Super Bowl contenders or not? So my Titans take since they lost Henry is they are Henry. With Henry, they are a Super Bowl team. Without Henry, I don't necessarily trust them. So let me back myself up. I know they beat the Rams convincingly without Henry. Mad respect. Going into Los Angeles, primetime game, you punch the Rams in the mouth. But how sustainable is that? And you look at this Tennessee offense in particular, no Julio, no Henry, no Julio, A.J. Brown left the game early Sunday. And you've had missing pieces on the offensive line throughout the year. You've had the defense has been rock solid. They have played pretty well, all things considered. Jeffrey Simmons has been awesome. Harold Landry has been awesome. Both of those guys would make my Pro Bowl team. But to me, Super Bowl contender when you are not an elite roster, see Tampa Bay or the Rams, If you don't have an elite roster, Super Bowl yes or no boils down to the quarterback. Say the Chiefs, when you have Patrick Mahomes, they are always there, right? No matter how bad the defense is, no matter how bad the offensive line is, they have a chance to win the Super Bowl because Mahomes. There are, 5 or 6 quarterbacks that I think have that upside that they can go win a Super Bowl for you. I think Mahomes can do it. I think Allen can do it. I think Herbert is getting there. I think Russell Wilson can win you a Super Bowl. Rodgers can win you a Super Bowl. Watson, I think Watson and Lamar, I think, are interesting case studies because they're talented enough to win a Super Bowl, but they obviously have only won one playoff game each. But the talent is there. And then you have the Bradys and the Daks, the floor raisers of the world, like kind of Drew Brees later in his career, the floor raisers. So I don't trust Ryan Tannehill. So let me contextualize that. On Sunday, Ryan Tannehill had 7 turnover-worthy plays on 54 attempts. Dropbacks, sorry. The rest of the season, he had 8 on about 300 plus. So I get it. You're trailing. You're forcing the ball. This is why turnover-worthy play numbers are elevated in the playoffs, right? This is why, say, Carson Palmer had 13 in 2 games in 2015. So I get it. You want to come back and win. You're forcing the ball down the field. You have an elevated average depth of target. I get it. I get all those things. But you can't do that against the Texans. And I don't trust Tannehill to have 3 good games in a row or 4 good games in a row. That's my thing. If Derrick Henry is there, I think you ask less of Tannehill. But running backs don't matter, but Derrick Henry does. Christian McCaffrey does. Dalvin Cook does. The top elite, top 1% running backs do, because they dictate so much of what your offense does by existing. Derrick Henry, just in the backfield, makes the Titans 10 times better offensively. Makes Tannehill better, makes A.J. Brown better, makes Julio better, makes Nick Westbrook-Akine better, makes Dante Foreman better, Golden Tate better. It makes everyone better. Rest in peace, Adrian Peterson. It makes everyone better if Derrick Henry is on the field. He doesn't have to touch the ball, just on the field. This is why I say the Ravens rushing attack, even on running plays, same thing with the Cardinals, same thing with the Eagles, on running plays that the quarterback isn't reading jack squat, it's more effective for James Conner. It's more effective for Devontae Freeman. It's more effective for whoever the heck the Eagles are starting at running back in a given week. Derrick Henry has that influence. So I'm cautiously optimistic that Henry returns for the playoffs. Titans fans, feel free to sound off if he is or isn't. But I will say, I don't think the Titans are Super Bowl contenders as currently constructed. But with Henry, they have that trump card, right? They have that Terrell Davis in 1997. Sony Michel in 2018. As much as you don't want to think about it, he was awesome in 2018. They have a guy that can take them to the Marcus Allen, John Riggins. They have a guy that you can just say, okay, you're going to give me 30 carries and we're going to go win the effing Super Bowl. Derrick Henry can do that. Not many other running backs can do that, but Derrick Henry can do that. So Titans, tough loss. They're still tops in the AFC though, 8-3. Next, Cincinnati at Vegas. Pretty dumb game, in all honesty. Derek Carr was horrendous for the 3rd week in a row. He come out of a bye. Derek Carr is awful against the Giants, somehow even worse against the Chiefs, and then it's a catastrophe again against the Bengals. Bengals are good defensively. The Giants have a capable defense. The Chiefs are working in the right direction, but just an ugly game for Carr. And big props to the Bengals defense, first of all. But I think the ship has sailed on the Raiders. For the Bengals, though, Joe Burrow was fine. Had the nice touchdown to Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon was great. And I think Mixon is a piece that, how do you solve quarterback inconsistency? You have more nuance to your offense. This is why Kansas City and Buffalo are super volatile, because if Mahomes has a bad day passing or Allen has a bad day passing, it's hard to win. You need someone else to step up, whether that's the defense, like the Dolphins game, the Bills won 35-0. Allen was terrible. Didn't matter because the defense was so good. Joe Mixon is bringing that element of Burrow doesn't have to have the game of his life for us to win. Burrow can be mediocre and we can win by 3 scores against a team that was in the playoff hunt. So big win to Cincinnati. Congratulations. They have Pittsburgh next. Speaking of Pittsburgh, one of the weirdest Sunday night games. I don't know how to describe it. Pittsburgh Steelers, Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers win 41-37. There were 41 points scored in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh scored 27 of them. The Chargers scored 14. And this game had more turns than I don't even know how to describe it. Herbert was great. He had one fluky interception that went off Cameron Hayward's face and popped up in the air. And I forget who now. Was it Highsmith that got the interception? I don't remember who got the interception, but Steelers, short field, pick, touchdown. Awesome. Then they stopped the Chargers on 4th down. Boswell makes the field goal, and I've seen this movie a million times before. Okay, great. Steelers won. They had this comeback win, and I'm going to get roasted in the group chat. And then the Chargers don't charger. Justin Herbert delivers a dime to Mike Williams down the sideline, touchdown Chargers. They win 41-37. So I have 2 takeaways. Chargers, good win. You took care of business. Steelers. This is a really, really, really good loss, and I think it's a good sign for your franchise because Ben played well against a pretty good defense, pretty talented defense. Asante Samuel, Derwin James, Joey Bosa, etc. Ben Roethlisberger played well. He played well enough. He had been a pretty poor quarterback for a while, but he made some good throws. He had a missed throw that he should have been a touchdown to Claypool. Okay, cool. It happens. But I think other than that, he was polished. He wasn't turning the ball over. He wasn't really putting the ball in harm's way. But got to get healthy with Minka and Watt and Hayden. I do think the Steelers win if any of those 3 were on the field. I'm just being honest there. And yeah, I think that's the takeaway that you have, that the Steelers competed without their 3 of their 4 best defensive players. So that shows resolve. That shows heart. So I know they lost, but big stuff there. But it also means you're a little star heavy. So when the Stars are there, you're awesome defensively, and you made it work offensively. Deontay Johnson was great. Like I said, Ben was good too. I will say they were a little reliant on big plays, but it happens. What's not to say, oh, they block a punt for, is it a touchdown? They block a punt. Okay, well, what's stopping them from Ray McLeod returning a punt 45 yards and you get awesome field position? Or what's stopping them from forcing a 4th down like they did later in the game on the Cam Hayward batted pass? So congratulations, Pittsburgh. You did lose, but I guess you're moving in the right direction. Moving to the intra-conference battles. Patriots at Falcons, 25-0. This is a snooze fest. Mac Jones was polished. The Patriots defense was unreal. There were like 5 guys that would have made my team of the week, in all honesty. The Falcons, what are you doing? Simply, what are you doing? Why are you? I've mentioned on the air that the Ravens are top heavy. The Falcons have five remotely okay NFL players, and then everyone else should probably not have a job in the CFL. Except the USFL is back up. Most of their teams should play in that league. You have Calvin Ridley, who is currently on the non-injured list. He's great. Calvin. Grady Jarrett, he is awesome. AJ Terrell, he is awesome. Chris Lindstrom, he is awesome. Cordero Patterson, he's awesome. That's 5 players. What are the other 48 members of that organization doing? Respect to Arthur Smith. He's doing all that he can. This is a terrible roster. And when I do my power rankings opening next season, the Falcons are going to be 31st because I have no faith in Matt Ryan. I have no faith in anything besides Patterson and Ridley on the offense. Okay, Pitts. I missed Pitts. 6 players that should have a job on the offense with Kyle Pitts. Defensively, it's a mess. As much as I love my boy, Aluakun, what are you doing? Deion Jones is not the same Deion Jones. The safeties are all over the place. Although they were missing one of the guys that I really like this year, Jalen Hawkins. They were missing him in the secondary against New England. Not that it would have mattered because they suck, but Hawkins is great, but it doesn't matter. So great win, New England. They are the 3 seed in the AFC, half a game behind Baltimore, and if they beat Tennessee, you will be a top 2 seed in the AFC. Congratulations, Patriots. Now we get to talk about my Baltimore Ravens. Ravens 16, Bears 13. This game, so preface, Lamar Jackson did not play. He had a non-COVID related illness. Tyler Huntley gets his first NFL start. This was an ugly game. I'm going to make this grand point about the Ravens and how for 91% of snaps, they are the best defense in the NFL. The other 9% of snaps, they are so catastrophically bad that they are in the bottom 8 in the NFL in yards allowed, the bottom half of the NFL in points allowed. They lead the NFL in explosive touchdowns allowed, and they lead the NFL in explosive yards allowed. The other 91%, boy, this is a very good defense the 91% of the time that it's functioning. And the problem is the Ravens are the only team in the NFL that are at that 9% explosive plays allowed, right? This is, to me, almost take baseball, right? Say you have this dominant reliever, say Aroldis Chapman, dominant reliever, gonna get a bunch of strikeouts, not gonna allow many hits, but when he does allow hits, they tend to be home runs. There are some situations that it's really nice to have Aroldis Chapman 3-0 lead. I think you're golden, but if it's a 1-0 lead or if it's a tie game in the wild card in the game 6, the ALCS, do you trust Aroldis Chapman? So I think that's the situation Baltimore's defense is in, that if you're up against the Chargers and you're up 34-6, okay, cool. But you're in a one-score game against the Bears, 4th and 11. I don't trust the Baltimore defense. I think over the course of a game, I trust Baltimore's defense, but on individual plays, there's a 10% chance this is a catastrophe. Baltimore is allowing 1.4 20-yard touchdowns a game. Let me repeat that. Baltimore, the only team in the NFL that allows more than one per game. The Chiefs have allowed 11 in 11 games. So that's the only team that's close. But this Ravens defense needs to figure out how to tackle and needs to figure out how to communicate. I know you're missing Deshaun Elliott. I know you're missing Marcus Peters. I know you're missing guys, but you have to figure out how to communicate, because it is disgusting watching. They've allowed 6 opponents' offensive plays to go for at least 45 yards in the last 3 weeks. Justin Jefferson had a 50-yard touchdown. Dalvin Cook had a 66-yard run. The Dolphins broke 2 huge passes on busted coverages. Darnell Mooney had a 60-yard touchdown, and I forget how the distance on the Goodwin touchdown, but he had a long touchdown against Baltimore the other day. You can't. That is unacceptable. So in a different era, sure, it's fine. At 91% of the time, you're God, essentially, and then the other 9%, you're not very good. That's fine. It works, but it's just stressful. Tyler Huntley was a trooper. He was admirable. He made one awesome third. Alejandro Villanueva. I mentioned the Falcons should be like backups in the USFL. Alejandro, Big Al, sir, what are you doing? What is your point of existing? Why are you on the football field? I exaggerate a lot on this show, but I genuinely believe in the deepest part of my being that if the Ravens played 10 on 11 and just did not have a left tackle, they would be more successful than they are with Alejandro Villanueva. It is bordering on, it hurts the team for him to be on the field. It's one thing for like other bad linemen to just like not block, but they don't lose every snap. Alejandro Villanueva on the last drive of the game, the last 2 plays of the Ravens drive, he's the one that let Huntley get smashed. Thankfully, Huntley makes a spectacular throw to an open Watkins. Shout out to the Bears defense for collapsing. And then the next play, he is on his knees celebrating while Devontae Freeman's juking out the guy that he let come unblocked. I love my Ravens. Big Al, figure it out, please. Ravens are in the 2 seed in the AFC. Browns 13, Lions 10. Tim Boyle was awful in this game. Baker Mayfield was somehow in the same ballpark. That is the takeaway. I have been a Baker Mayfield supporter in a way, as much as a Ravens fan can be a supporter of Baker Mayfield. I have said he's a top 10 quarterback in the past. He is not playing like it. And right now he's playing like a bottom 5 quarterback. Right now he is on that Matt Ryan tier of, I don't think he's going to be good in a given week. There are other guys. Do I trust Mahomes to be like awesome every week? No, but am leaning towards, if I had to guess, Baker's going to suck this week. If I had to guess, Matt Ryan's going to suck this week. And I hate saying that for quarterbacks. I like Matt Ryan. I think he's a cool guy. I love what he's done for the city of Atlanta. I love what Baker's done for the city of Cleveland. Go Cavs, by the way. I love the progressive commercials. I think he's such a cool guy, but he just is not playing well. And of course, he's going to probably figure it out and throw for 500 yards against Baltimore. Clip that. Hopefully you don't have to use it again. So 13-10. Lions 0-9-1 now. Browns back above 500. San Francisco at Jacksonville. This was the most boring game of the week. San Francisco absolutely pounded Jacksonville. It was only 30-10, but this was a pounding. This could have been 300-10. Just asserting your will at the point of attack. San Francisco did it all day. Deebo Samuel is awesome. There's not a whole lot to talk about. Nick Bosa, people think he's going to be comeback player of the year. He's not happening. Dak's going to win it. But congratulations on 10 sacks in there, Nick. Clapping for you. Dallas at Kansas City. This was weak sauce. You come into this game thinking this is going to be two offensive juggernauts. You have I believe the number one scoring team, and then you have Patrick Mahomes. Like that fireworks, absolute fireworks. The Chiefs scored 19 points in 13 drives. The Cowboys scored 9. They didn't score a touchdown against the Chiefs. This is the same Chiefs that barely beat Daniel Jones. This is the same Chiefs that allow 40 points, like allow 35 plus points at will. I don't know what happened I do know what happened. Dallas was missing Tyron Smith and Amari Cooper. Ezekiel Elliott played like half the game. CeeDee Lamb missed a quarter and a half. So I understand, but this is the critique that you have with Dak, that he has this elite supporting cast, right? You have an all-pro caliber left tackle, all-pro caliber right guard, all-pro caliber receivers, all-pro caliber running back. And Dan Quinn's been awesome defensively on the defensive coordinator. But Dak didn't play well. This is the second time in 3 weeks that he has underperformed. I know it's Denver. I know it's Kansas City. But big game. These are must-win games, especially Kansas City one, because that is a statement victory. The Denver one, how are you losing to Denver? Why are you down 30-0 to Denver? We could have gone through that 2 weeks ago. But Kansas City, Chris Jones, like I said earlier, has figured it out. Patrick Mahomes has not figured it out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back. But this is taunting. What an idiot. I hate the taunting rule. I do. I hate the taunting rule, but that's neither here nor there. Dallas needs to figure it out. Micah Parsons is unbelievable, by the way, but Dallas needs to figure it out. I know they're not healthy. I get it, but Dak, it's your time. You had a golden opportunity to say, I am the most valuable player in the NFL. And you didn't. You screwed it up. You failed. You failed 2 out of 3 weeks now. So let's move on to the NFC games. Saints, Eagles. I covered this earlier. Eagles won by a couple scores. Trevor Siemian was respectable for the Saints. Big respect to Trevor Siemian, because he came in and I'm the first to say I don't believe in Trevor Siemian. He has a bad track record in the NFL. He sucked with the Jets. He sucked with the Broncos. He has done that. He has duct tape over my mouth. I can't say any ill will, anything bad about Siemian. He has 10 big-time throws in 4 weeks. He had 4 last week. I know he had a couple turnover-worthy plays, but he is a gamer. He played a pretty good game. Jalen Hurts had not 1, not 2, but 3 rushing touchdowns. I actually didn't touch on that with Jonathan Taylor had 5 touchdowns. Austin Eckler had 4 touchdowns. So what a week. What a week. Eagles, I touched on it earlier. I think they figured out how to win. It's impressive. Washington at Carolina. I think these teams are essentially the same. If you play this game 100 times, I think Carolina wins 50, Washington wins 50. There might be a couple ties sprinkled in, but I think Taylor Heineke played with a lot of swagger. He was the PFF's highest graded quarterback. I don't know if Brady beat that, but PFF's highest graded quarterback this week. Excuse me. Absolute gamer. And it wasn't the hero ball. It wasn't lottery tickets to Terry McLaurin like he had for the first 9 weeks of the season. He went out and absolutely balled. That's a very good Carolina defense. That is talented secondary. That is talented linebackers. I know they're missing pieces and Gilmore's not fully acclimated, but that is a talented defense. And Heineke lit them on fire. So great week for Heineke. Am I sold on the Panthers? No, but I said good defense, better quarterback play from Cam, who was better than Darnold for most of Darnold's games. You have McCaffrey back. You have DJ Moore. You have all these pieces. You happen to lose this game, right? You just happen to lose this game. Then we have one of the best games of the season. Packers at Vikings. Vikings win 34-31. Last second go-ahead touchdown or go-ahead field goal drive for the Vikings. Stunner. This game was awesome. I will caution those that said Cousins was elite because he had a couple just terrible throws. He had, I think, 2 interceptions that were overturned. One was either dropped. One was dropped. The other, I think, was a DPI or something. So I get it that they don't count. But if you want to throw up the 21 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, awesome. But realize there's other bad throws in there that don't get counted. That's my view. Sometimes bad throws will get picked, or good throws will get picked because deflections. I'm going to point those out and say, fluky interception, Joe Burrow against the Jets. Fluky interception, Herbert against the Steelers. But then at the same time, if you throw a ball and it hits the defender right in the chest and it doesn't end up being an interception, we have a problem, right? Tyler Huntley against the Bears had a throw to Bateman. That Bateman got held DPI. It was a DPI, but that's a play that Huntley probably shouldn't have thrown that ball. You get the DPI, yes, but probably shouldn't have thrown the ball. So Cousins have been great this year. Rodgers was spectacular. I mentioned that in the intro. There's nothing wrong with this game. This is like a 50-50 game. Sometimes there's 50 extra seconds and Green Bay goes down and ties it and goes to overtime. Or sometimes Mason Crosby is in an absolute catastrophe and they win. But neither here nor there. Arizona at Seattle. Colt McCoy was very polished in this game. He was much better than he was last week. Russell Wilson was also much better, but it was just kind of, you need more, Russ. You need more. And I feel bad for Seattle because this was not a situation you were supposed to be in because you have Russell Wilson's never missed a game as a starter until this year. You're going all in for this year, and Russ has his best half of the season, and then he gets hurt against the Rams. And then all of a sudden you're starting Geno Smith, and you can't even tank. You can't even say, okay, well, Russ, let's heal your finger. You're out for the season because the Jets own your pick. And say what you will about Jamal Adams. He's a perfectly awesome player. Are there fair criticisms? Yes, but just an unfortunate season for Seattle. If there's any team that did not need to trade a first-round pick, it's Seattle. Because at least like Miami, they traded theirs, but San Francisco, they have one from San Francisco, or Indy, right? Well, why did they trade? Because they got a quarterback, right? And even if I don't trust Wentz, they still got a quarterback for it. So, and who's played all 11 games to this point. So I feel bad for Seattle. Giants, Bucks. I was sabotaged betting wise. I bet Cincinnati minus 2.5, Kansas City minus 1, and Giants plus 11. Then Jason Garrett decided to just not care. First drive, I'll give him credit. He cared. He was throwing everything at the Bucks, right? He was throwing 6 offensive linemen, and then he had a touchdown pass to the offensive lineman on the second of their short drive. He threw a lot of it at the Bucks, and then after that, it was vanilla. It was straight vanilla. It was straight you go school lunch, 50-cent ice cream pop. Yep. It was straight vanilla. And I hated every second of it. I don't know why I bet on Daniel Jones. He turned into a pumpkin. Don't bet on sports. I have 1 penny in my betting account right now. Don't bet on sports, folks. So with that said, I'm going to immediately break my own advice and let's pick the Week 12 games. We are at the 50-minute mark. I'm going to try to roll through these pretty quickly. My voice is dying. I want to try to get out of here around 7:15. If we go a little longer, that's okay, but bear with me as my voice begins to die. All right, let me get some easy games out of the way. Jets, Texans. Zach Wilson's back, but I think I'm going to lean Houston. I'm going to lean the better quarterback with Tyrod Taylor. I think they figured something out against Tennessee. I'm going to lean Houston at home as well. Chargers, they're going to whack Denver, and nope. Dallas, yeah, this is a whack. This is the worst game of all time. Falcons, Jags, are you kidding me? I'm going to go Jags. Atlanta's a disaster. I have no interest in picking this game. See, I think Philly is the better team. I don't necessarily trust them to continue, but I do think they have found something. And then I think Washington beats Seattle. I don't believe it with Seattle anymore. I think they just don't have much talent at a certain point. So yes, I know I'm breaking my cardinal rule of don't bet on the worst quarterback by a lot, but Russell Wilson hasn't been playing the last few weeks, hasn't been playing at a level of, I trust them to win that game. So let's go back through. Steelers, Bengals. The Bengals are higher in my power rankings. They also won the first matchup. TJ Watt is back, likely back. So I think Pittsburgh is going to be able to throw off some of the timing things that Cincinnati. I'm going to lean Pittsburgh. If this is an overtime game, and I trust Boswell more than I trust McPherson. So I'm going to say Steelers by 3 at Cincinnati. Titans, Patriots. I think the Patriots roll. I think this is a game that the Patriots make another statement to the NFL, second in 3 weeks, that they just beat up on a good team, beat up on a team people think are good, right? And I think that's where we're going. I think the Patriots win by 10. Jets, Texans, I talked about that. Chargers, Broncos. Chargers are rolling. Browns, Ravens. If I was doing this team by team, I want to make it very clear that I think the Ravens and Browns split and the Ravens and Steelers split. So I'm just going to take the home team there. If you need any explanation, it's division games. I'm going to pick a split unless it's not close. Buffalo and New Orleans. New Orleans usually, I would think, has the personnel to beat Buffalo, but Armstead is hurt. Ramczyk is hurt. Kamara is hurt. Ingram is hurt. You're on your backup quarterback. There's defensive injuries everywhere. I think this is a game that Buffalo has to win. I think Buffalo will win. This is the kind of game that if you didn't watch the last 3 weeks of Bills football, losing to Jacksonville, beating the Jets, losing to the Colts, then you watch them on Thursday night. Oh, yeah, Josh Allen, he's elite. Yeah, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. He is the MVP. There were real-life people that told me he was the MVP frontrunner. He is the MVP again. Oh, yeah. This is the kind of game because it's going to be in front of a nationally televised audience. Anyways, Bucks, Colts. The Bucks have a very good run defense. It's not quite where it was the last couple of years, especially without Vita Vea, but I trust Brady more than I trust Wentz. Carolina, Miami. Miami's playing better. Carolina has a better quarterback. Carolina is probably better defensively. I think this is a McCaffrey game. Like McCaffrey just goes bonkers for no reason. Chicago, Detroit. I'm going to pick a tie. Minnesota, San Francisco. This is a fascinating game. Both of these teams are at the same record coming into this game. This is secretly the best game of the week, and I wouldn't flex Cleveland, Baltimore out, but this is a banger of a game. Garoppolo and Cousins have been probably two of the 3 best quarterbacks. Heineke's in there. Mac Jones is in there. 2 of the 4 best quarterbacks in the last couple of weeks. This is going to be a fun game. This is a game that, 4:25 kickoff? Yeah. Oh, yes. This is a game is must-watch TV. I know the next game is fascinating, but this is must-watch TV. I think San Francisco asserts their will and they win this game. I think Minnesota might be more talented. Minnesota is higher in my power rankings. Minnesota has better quarterback play. Minnesota has better, but I think San Francisco is going to say this is a game that we run for 200 yards and we just win. So there's that. Packers over the Rams. I trust Rodgers more than I trust Stafford. Stafford's laid 2 stinkers in a row. I think the Rams are a little suspect, and I don't. Obviously, they're incredibly talented, but I think they lack, outside of Andrew Whitworth, I think they lack physicality. And I think they can be beaten by a team that wants to beat them. This is why San Francisco beat them. This is why Tennessee beat them. If you punch the Rams in the mouth, I don't think they can respond. Maybe later in the season. I don't think they will right now. All right. Heading into week 13, I'm going to go more rapid fire here. I think the Bengals have the better quarterback. Chargers are the better team. I don't think the Bengals drop 2 in a row at home, though. Colts, Texans, yeah, okay. Ball pit, yep, I'll take a split. Chiefs, this is now Sunday Night Football. They're going to just mollywop Denver. We're going to come back to this. Miami over New York. Philly, the Jets have never beaten the Eagles. Washington over the Raiders, and Washington would be at 6-6. Thick of the playoff race. Rams over the Jags. We'll come back to this one. Cardinals over the Bears. Kyler should be back by this point. Tampa, they're just going to I can't even say words to describe how much the Bucs are going to just clobber the Falcons. Vikings over the Lions. Niners, I think they're going to get their revenge over Seattle. I know it seems goofy to have Seattle like 3-9 now, but I don't see it. Dallas at New Orleans. This is a Thursday night game, but it's a normal week. You know, Dallas plays at 4 on Thursday. New Orleans plays at 8 on Thursday. So it's a normal week. It is a normal week. Everything's cool. I hate this for New Orleans, but I think Dallas is just going to be too talented. The Cups are not. Amari Cooper, that's the right. Amari Cooper is going to be back. Smith should be back. I think all their guys are going to be healthy. New Orleans, I can't say the same. New England and Buffalo. I'm going to say they split, and I'm just going to say the split. Buffalo takes the first one. All right, week 14. Split, like I said. Chiefs are going to mollywop the Raiders. Titans are going to beat the Jags. We're going to get back to this one. That's a fun one. Saints over the Jets. Saints trying to keep pace in the playoff race. Seattle's going to beat Houston. Denver beats Detroit to try to stay in the playoff race. They're Denver. Chargers over the Giants. Then we're going to get back to this one. Dallas over Washington. Sorry, Washington. Carolina over 500. Packers, good win. This is a game that I don't necessarily trust either of these teams to out-physical the other. I usually will lean with the split, but I think Kyler is playing at such a high level. Monday night in Glendale, that place is going to be rocking. So I'm going to lean Arizona there. Pittsburgh, Minnesota. I'm going to lean Minnesota. I just think quarterback-wise, they're too good. Kirk Cousins has been awesome. Pittsburgh has a ceiling. San Francisco, Cincinnati. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to lean Cincinnati here, though. I'm going to lean Cincinnati by like 3. Buffalo, Tampa. Tampa is more talented, but I don't know if they can exploit Buffalo. I need Antonio Brown to be back. In all honesty, if I knew Antonio Brown was going to be, I would just pick the Bucs every week, I think. But I'm going to lean Bucs. I trust Brady more than I trust Allen right now. All right, week 15. We're through with all the buys. Chiefs exact their revenge on the Chargers. Brownies beat the Raiders. The Raiders fall to 5-9. This is a secretly game of the year contender here. Patriots at Colts. Dolphins over the Jets again. Texans over Jags. Better quarterback play. Pittsburgh over Tennessee. We'll lean with that. Cincinnati at Denver. Tough game, but I think they can win that. Cincinnati is now on top of the division, which is scary. Buffalo over Carolina. We'll get back to Green Bay, Baltimore. Philly over Washington. Dallas over the Giants. Cardinals over the Lions. Niners roll again. Rams roll. Monday Night Football. Kirk Cousins. I like trends. I like history. It's not how the Bears just suck. The Bears are awful. 3 games left here. Patriots at Colts. I think the Patriots are the better coach team. I think I'd probably take Mac over Wentz by a tiny, tiny bit, just floor-wise. I think the Patriots get it done in a primetime game in Indy. I think they get it done. I think Tampa beats New Orleans. Sorry, New Orleans. I know I hate it. I hate it for you. I really do. Green Bay, Baltimore. This is going to be a smacker of a game because Baltimore won't be able to stop jack squat And it just depends on if Lazard wants to catch the ball or if MVS wants to catch the ball or if Devontae Adams wants to catch the ball. If all of those players catch the ball, this is going to be like a 52-12 game. But I'm going to lean Green Bay here, which means Baltimore would be on a 3-game losing streak, and I'd probably be crying anyways. But I think they beat Cincinnati. Again, I'm going to lean with a split. Jags, Jets. I'm going to lean better quarterback. Lawrence, split. Chargers, Chiefs. Oh, this is a disgusting matchup. Raiders, better quarterback play. The Broncos are 2-8 in conference. Short game, short rest. I'm gonna lean Tennessee. I think Tennessee gets it back here. And San Francisco loses 2 in a row now. Packers over the Browns. Colts, Cardinals. This is a fun one. This is a lot of fun. I'm gonna say the Colts out physical the Cardinals. Dolphins, Saints. I'm gonna lean Saints at home Monday night. Sorry, Miami. We got Giants at Eagles. I think the Eagles roll. I'm just gonna pick a tie. That might be the worst game I've ever seen. I thought Jacksonville, Atlanta. This is a catastrophe of a game. Tampa over Carolina. Sorry, Panthers fans. I think the Vikings can out physical the Rams. I think they do. As of right now, and Cousins is playing better than Stafford, which is weird, but I'm going to lean Minnesota here, which knocks the Rams almost out of the playoffs. Seattle over Chicago. This is when Seattle starts building up momentum and Jets fans jump off bridges. Dallas over Washington. Okay, so let's look at the playoffs real quick. Chiefs as the 1 seed. Yep. Great. Chiefs, Pats, Titans, Bengals, Chargers, Bills, Ravens. The AFC, NFC's Cowboys, Packers, Cardinals, Bucks, Vikings, Eagles, Rams. The Steelers are half a game out. Colts are 1 out. Browns are 1 out. The Niners are 1 out. The AFC or the NFC. All right. Chiefs over the Bengals. Colts over the Raiders. Patriots over the Jags. Titans over the Dolphins. Chargers over the Bengals or Broncos. Sorry. Steelers over the Browns. Bills, Bucks, Niners. This game is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to lean Rams, though. I think they're too talented. Giant Bears, I guess. Cardinals, Cowboys. I like this game a lot. I'm gonna lean Dallas. Philly beats Washington. Yep, yes, that does mean Philly goes or wins their next 5. I think the Saints beat Carolina. Seattle beats Detroit. Green Bay beats Minnesota. And then we head into week 18, and here's where we have some fun. I wish I'd done this on 538, but then again, I wouldn't know those games for primetime unless I was off the top of my head. So AFC, Chiefs clinch the 1 seed with a win. If they lose, they're going to win. Let me just fill that in. They're going to beat Denver. So Chiefs, congratulations. I have you winning out and getting the 1 seed. Patriots, Titans. If the Patriots win, they clinch the 2 seed. If the Titans win, Patriots lose, they clinch the 2 seed. Steelers currently lead the division by half a game over Baltimore and Cincinnati. Cleveland is out. Yeah. Maybe not. Actually, yeah, they would be because Indy beats whoever. But regardless, NFC, Dallas, Packers, Bucks, Cardinals. All of those teams have locked up their division. The Eagles are the 5 seed, Rams are the 6. The Niners and Vikings are vying for that 8 or for that 7 seed. Let's see how it goes. Bills lock it up. Browns beat the Bengals. Actually, I'm going to say Bengals beat the Browns, and that splits. Patriots over the Dolphins. Indy over the Jags. We'll get back to Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Tennessee over Houston. They get their revenge. Chargers over the Raiders. Bucks over the Panthers. Cowboys over the Eagles. Saints over the Falcons. They get their revenge. Washington over the Giants. Green Bay over Detroit. Minnesota over Chicago. Not going to overthink this. Arizona over Seattle. And in a game that ends up meaning a whole lot. So let me back up. So AFC, the winner of this game is the 4 seed. Whether it's Steelers, winners the 4 seed, losers out of the playoffs as the 9 seed. I think Baltimore gets it done, wins that game. NFC, this game right here, the Niners are out of the playoffs with a loss. The Rams, if the Rams win, they're the 5 seed. If the Niners win, the Niners are the 5 seed. The Rams are out of the playoffs. I think the Rams get it done. I think they're just a more talented team. So, AFC, Chiefs 1, Patriots 2, Titans 3, Ravens 4, Chargers 5, Bills 6, Colts 7. That would be a fun playoffs. NFC, Cowboys 1, Packers 2, Bucks 3, Cardinals 4, Rams 5, Vikings 6, Eagles 7. All right, let's see it. I'll run through the playoffs real quick. Okay. This is a game. If Henry is back, the Titans win. If Henry is not back, the Bills win. So I'm going to assume Henry is back. I think the Patriots take care of business at home. I think the Ravens take care of business at home. I think the Cardinals take care of business at home. I think the Bucks take care of business at home. I think the Packers take care of business at home. Okay. This is a game. If Henry's back, oh, this is a fun one. If Henry's back, I think the Titans win. I think the Titans can. I think they stun this red hot Patriots team that'll have gone 10-1 in their last 11. Bucks, Packers. Kevin King's been playing a lot better, so you can't even pick on that. I'm going to say Packers. I have the Packers over the Bucks right now. Cowboys, Cardinals, Cowboys. Upset City. Cardinals over the Cowboys. And as much as I want to be a contrarian and pick the Ravens, the Chiefs are going to win that game. I know as well as anyone that they're going to win that game. They're also going to win that game, Packers. And we have the State Farm Super Bowl, Packers, Chiefs. What a way. The Chiefs at this point would have won the next 9. They would have gone from 5-4, 4-4. They 4-4 because they beat. Oh boy, they beat. They were 4-4. They beat the Giants. Then they beat the Raiders. Then they beat whoever they beat yesterday, Sunday. Who did they beat Sunday? Oh, Dallas. And then they won the next 7. Okay, yeah. The Red Hot Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Congratulations, Mahomes. So there we go. There we are. We are an hour and 8 minutes into this, and I just chose the Chiefs to win out. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't love it. I mean, like I don't like the Chiefs. So I mean, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say there, but thank you guys for watching. This is super fun. My voice is beginning to die, like I've said before, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like this stream, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter at UStadium, follow us on Instagram at UStadium. You can follow me. Sorry, Mike. You can follow me on either platform at Mr. Splashman19. Ring-a-ding-ding, that notification bell for all of our wonderful, wonderful content. And make sure you download the UStadium app. Get active on takes. It is such a cool idea. This is revolutionary. So such a cool idea. Sucks that none of my takes hit. I had 2 parlays over the weekend. None of them hit. Neither. So I have 1 penny in my betting account. Don't bet, folks. So with that said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you another time. Aaron Donald is training with knives, by the way. I have to click the button, but Aaron Donald trains with knives.